Askreddit thread. What is common, but still really weird? It feels weird when I enter the bank's large vault with a staff attendant to use my safe deposit box, and left there alone in a room deeper within. When done, you press a button to call for a bank staff member to unlock the door to secure the room you're in to let you out and return the safe deposit box. While it lasts, it feels a bit like being in captivity. No one can enter the main vault, or the quiet room deeper within while you're there. In a cavernous space, dead quiet. Good for looking through your box, but bad for bank customers lined up outside the vault, waiting for you to be done so they too can enter. Well, might as well masturbate while I have some privacy. What do you mean this isn't a sperm bank? Intrusive thoughts. They are really quite common, but entirely odd all the same. An example for someone who's unfamiliar with the term might be swerving into oncoming traffic, pushing someone off a train platform, or kissing someone in an incredibly inappropriate situation. They are often basically the worst thing you could possibly do in some situations, yet occasionally we'll have an urge to do them anyway. I'm sure I read on a psychology thread that we have those thoughts to stop us from doing it. It's like our mind reminding us that we could do that, but it wouldn't be in the best of interests. Hey, guess what? Yeah. You know what would be stupid and excruciating and would likely kill you for the rest of your life if you don't die from it? I'm driving. Go away. Yeah. What if you were to make a couple lane changes right now? Wouldn't that be awesome? Do it right now. Hey, you have a fair point. Wait a second. That would suck. Yeah, you're right. Don't do that. You're a dick. My husband used this explanation to help me cope with intrusive thoughts for my PPMD. What is PPMD? One of the 5 smash gods. He normally mains Marth. PPMD, Kriegasm. Oh god, smash follows me everywhere. I'm not a doctor or psychologist, but I'm guessing postpartum medical depression? It's just postpartum depression. Did you just have a baby? I was constipated for a while. Don't stop you from killing Dumbledore, so they can't be that useful. Talking with a good friend / family member / nice old lady. What if you suddenly just split in... What if you just suddenly spit in their motherfucking face? Bro. What if you just grab your boss's ass? It'd be so cool. Or consider this. I don't want to get fired. Oh, thank God, I just thought I'd been fighting off my inner psychopath. And the more you try to fight them, the worse they get. The podcast Invisibilia has a good episode on it. One of the therapists on it says that people who struggle with intrusive thoughts are not as immoral as might first seem, but usually more moral. The reason is that people have nastier taboo thoughts and shrug them off without much thought. But people who have problems with intrusive thoughts are unsettled by their nastier taboo thoughts, and that attention makes them worse. Trying to will them away usually just makes them worse, too. That makes sense. Basically, normal people are people who are of a neutral stance. They'll get those intrusive thoughts, and they'll think, oh, well, that's crazy. But people who are very moral and uptight, they'll get those intrusive thoughts, and they're like, I would never do that. Why the hell am I thinking this? Am I secretly a terrible person? So yeah, I guess that makes sense. People who are more moral will be more distraught by their intrusive thoughts than other people. This is extremely important, and the only way I got rid of them. Do not think of them as do not consciously developed what they mean or they imply. Do not analyze them. Do not consciously ignore them because our brain does not understand that. To our brain, thinking of not thinking is still thinking about something. If you do any of that, that will irrevocably and very quickly change your mood. The response to those thoughts, or even just having them, will affect your mood, and once you work up, you will assume that they are true if they got you worked up. At this moment, you will no longer judge these thoughts, but your reaction as the thoughts will be taken for in fact. It is here where you are no longer in control. The best thing to do is to acknowledge the scientific fact that you and your thoughts, that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts come up all the time. I believe estimated suggests we have something like 60,000 thoughts a day. That's like 40 thoughts a minute, one every 1.5 seconds. Do you really think everything you think is true, either as in scientific truth or true to your belief system? No way. Some things just pop up. Read about mindfulness and start being aware of that now. When you are aware of the now, you start seeing how these thoughts just come up on their own, like they create themselves and carry no value. When you get to this point, you don't even get to ignore them. You're just able to carry on with your stuff, not turning to your inside eye towards these thoughts. If you do this once, and the biggest relief ever, but again, keep your mind and emotions off it. Just carry on with your life. It gets easier and easier. They get weaker and weaker, further and further off your attention zone, and eventually they disappear, or come very weakly every blue moon. This is how I got rid of my OCD. I hope it helps everyone. TLDR, you are not your thoughts. Intrusive thoughts and OCD are both behavioral reactions, and you cannot logic your way out of them. You just need to change your actions. Do not analyze them, but then you just said to acknowledge them as a scientific fact. That's basically intellectualization, where you think of it as something that's not really happening to you, and you analyze it as it's something you're observing. It's like, oh, this is something that's happening to me. So this is an intrusive thought. Yes, so this is me thinking about jumping off the building because, hey, there's no railing up here. I could totally just jump off. Wow, I can't believe I just had that thought right now. That's crazy that I had this thought. It's not me who had this thought, but yet it came from my head. Interesting. I guess that's how you acknowledge it as a scientific fact. But that is the same as analyzing them. Do you not analyze them? I guess I must be thinking about something else. Like, don't analyze them like, why did I think that way? Oh no, am I crazy? Okay, I think I get it. Yeah, so you do analyze them, you just analyze them in a different way. Analyze them as if they're a scientific fact. This is a psychological thing, and it's called intellectualization. Man, I always say that wrong. And it also helps you if you have, stress or emotional problems. Let's see, I get these incredibly strongly when walking across bridges over roads that don't have very high railings, like waist height. I either want to jump or lean over with my phone in my hand and toss my phone up and down. I've walked across two like this yesterday, and I had to actually move myself as far away from the edge as possible and breathe really deeply to combat the adrenaline/fear. People publicly announcing that they're trying for a baby, especially when they tell their parents. Mom, Dad, guess what? Tony is now regularly coming inside of me. On the flip side of that very second the ink is dry on your marriage certificate, you start to be asked if you're trying for kids. What's worse is after a year of marriage, no pregnancy announcements, people start to give you unrequested tips. We found that putting a cushion under her hips while using modified missionary position really helped the semen to pool. Eerie. Thanks, Aunt Mabel. That's an image that will haunt me. It also just sounds so non-romantic to me, like the sex of it is just a chore while you wait until you come in her. It seems really weird to me. No one I work with knows of / has been on Reddit. I feel like an absolute weirdo trying to explain what it is and why I use it. Whenever someone asks me what I'm up to on my phone or computer, I just say I'm reading the news, as it is far less awkward conversation. Shit's weak. People like to think I'm constantly on Facebook. When you try to explain Reddit to them, they cannot comprehend why it is better than Facebook. What is worse, if you ever meet someone who browses Reddit, what the hell do you talk about? Hey man, did you see Gallo Boob's post on the front page today? 10 people are calling him out for reposting. My conversations with people who use Reddit is usually, hey man, did you see? Yes. Yeah, this is why actually having something in common with someone doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a lot to talk about. Outer belly buttons. I don't trust those people. Kissing. Why does it give you so much pleasure? Why is it that we crave as human beings? Why use your mouth to talk, to eat, to show emotions via facial expressions, etc.? Yet we also have this deep desire and urge to put our lips on someone else's, to place our tongue in someone else's mouth. The first kiss is a defining moment in most people's lives, but really, all we did was gain the courage and confidence and build the chemistry and trust to make both parties have the fucking urge to place each other's mouths together. WTF, weird. According to a study of kissing preferences, which looked at 168 cultures from around the world, only 46% of cultures kiss in the romantic sense. Many hunter-gatherer groups showed no evidence of kissing or desire to do so. When I first understood what kissing was, I thought that when you put your lips on someone else's lips, it would taste like chocolate. That is why people like it so much. I mean, why else? I was extremely disappointed. If you think about it, you end up making a seamless connection from butthole to butthole when you kiss. What? Sleepy. Let me just go shut down and black out for 8 hours. See you tomorrow. Carlin had a great routine on this. People say, I'm going to sleep now, as if it were nothing, but it's a really bizarre activity. For the next several hours, while the sun is gone, I'm going to become unconscious, temporarily losing command over everything I know and understand. When the sun returns, I will resume my life. If you don't know what sleep was, and you had only seen it in a science fiction movie, you would think it was weird and tell your friends about the movie you'd seen. They had these people, you know, and they would walk around all day and be okay, and then once a day, usually after dark, they would lie down on these special platforms and become unconscious. They would stop functioning almost completely, except deep in their minds, or they'd have adventures and experiences that were completely impossible in real life. As they lay there, completely vulnerable to their enemies, their only movements were to occasionally shift from one position to another. Or, if one of their mind adventures got too real, they'd sit up and scream and be glad they weren't unconscious anymore. Then they would drink a lot of coffee. Everything we do is pretty weird when you explain it that way. A few times a day I need to find biological material and shred it with these hard surfaces in my head. Once it's all shredded, my stomach takes the material and uses caustic chemicals and movement to break it down even further until my body can pick useful material out of the sludge, and then dump the rest out of a hole in the bottom of my body. Relevant XKCD. Sometimes it seems bizarre to me that we take dreaming in stride. Are you coming to dinner? Yeah, but first I'm gonna go comatose for a few hours, hallucinate vividly, and then maybe suffer amnesia about the whole experience. Okay, cool. And the possibility of lucid dreaming just makes it much more fascinating. That is a good way to explain it. I want to go comatose for a few hours, hallucinate vividly, and then maybe suffer amnesia about the whole experience. Names. It just sounds like your parents assigned It's just a sound your parents assigned you, so you know when you're being called. Same with every bit of language, it's all arbitrary at some point. Skin tags, weird little dongles, where dongles aren't meant to dangle. What? Trees, just big old fucking sticks, just everywhere, quietly plotting. I'm on to you, trees. I guess only common for America, but those gaps in bathroom stalls. It's been pointed out before, but it is really that hard to make a functioning fucking door. I'd much rather be able to take my shits in peace, not end up locking my eyes at the stranger. It's to deter public sex and drugs. Not sure how well it works in theory. Surely if you're having sex in a public bathroom, a crack in the door isn't going to deter you, as a throughout public sex is what you're there for. Dancing. Why do some vibrations in the air make us want to move our limbs? Water. This clear liquid that has all these interesting properties. It changes states fairly easily compared to most substances, so we have it in liquid, solid, and gaseous form all around us. Our bodies run on it, and it refreshes us. In fact, all life on Earth is only possible because of it. Clapping. Nice job. Watch me slap my hands together for a bit. Also laughing. When something is humorous, people just involuntarily shout out, ha 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 ha. Childbirth, especially the bit when just the head is out. Driving to the gym to ride a stationary bike. Warren Buffett had this to say about gold. Gold gets dug out of the ground in Africa or someplace. Then we melt it down, dig another hole, bury it again, and pay people to stand around guarding it. It has no utility. Anyone watching from Mars would be scratching their head. It's actually used a lot in electronics manufacturing because it doesn't oxidize like most other common conductive metals. It's also used in spacecraft because it's such a good insulator to infrared radiation. It's also one of the best heat reflectors we have. Most of its value is based on the belief that it's valuable, especially when you consider history. Yeah, but that's not where its value comes from. It's valuable because it's purity. Let's see. No, it has utility. The historical value of gold was rooted in its medium rarity. Easily handling and minting, easy smelting, corrosion resistance, distinct color, and non-reactive to other metal elements. Gold's high malleability, ductility, resistance to corrosion, and most other chemical reactions and conductivity of electricity have led to its continued use in corrosion resistance, electrical connectors, and all types of computerized devices, its chief industrial use. Gold is also used in infrared shielding, color glass production, gold leafing, and tooth restoration. Certain gold salts are still used as anti-inflammatories in medicine. Wow. I didn't know it was that useful. Drinking the milk secreted from the teats of other species, and then making it go moldy to solidify into cheese. It starts out good, then it becomes bad, then it becomes disgusting, then it becomes dangerous, then it becomes cheese. Way to turn it around, milk. He's visiting my school on Thursday. I'm so psyched. Not sure of common, but I think promposals are weird and quite frankly the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. What happened to just walking up to someone asking them out to prom without making a big production out of it? And if you're already a couple, isn't it assumed you're going to prom anyways? Social media happened. My boyfriend asked me to prom by asking what my colored dress was, so he could buy a matching bow tie. Like, oh, okay. Guess I'd buy a dress. Your boyfriend is pretty cool, and you seem cool by yourself by not demanding an extra of him. Honestly, the two of us would be so embarrassed to do something so public like a promposal. I half expected him to propose by tossing a ring at me like, hey, put this on, which I feel would be sweet. My bitch of a high school girlfriend turned me down for senior prom until I did something cooler. I figured asking somebody who was already my girlfriend to go to prom with me would have been easier. Are you still with her? Because if she's pulling this in high school, it's only going to get worse. She wants it because everyone else seemingly got promposaled. I mean, that's a shitty thing to do, but I think you might be exaggerating when you say it's only going to get worse. Many teenagers tend to be mature attention whores, and most of them mature. If she was pulling something similar in her 20s, I'd probably be downhill from there, but there are plenty of people who got over themselves as they get older. What I'm getting from this thread is that everything is weird. That's true. Alright, I'm just going to... 9 to 5 office job where you have to be present in the office. I have minimal interaction with coworkers, yet I'm forced to sit at this desk instead of being able to work from home. To be fair, I find it's an easy way to get into work mode. I can definitely do my job at home, but being at work limits some of the distractions of home and keeps me in work mode more or less than sitting in my room at home would be. Oh, that's so true. Speaking as someone who works from home, it'd probably be easier if I actually went to another building or something. That way I can get into a work mode. Otherwise, I just sit here and watch anime all day. Maybe it's just lack of self-discipline, but companies want some level of guarantee that you aren't fucking off, even though you can still do so at the office. Speaking of which, I'd better get back to work. Alright, so let's just end it here.